Portugal. There's a YouTube show full of fun facts you need to know.
Hola, bom dia, alegria. Munson here with the Good Morning Portugal show, the live stream, the podcast, and the Portugal Club. And thank you to everybody who joined us yesterday. We made the Portugal Club free at the front end. Who likes a bit of freedom at the front end first thing in the morning? We definitely do here on the Good Morning Portugal show. And thank you very much to those of you who joined us. Yes, looking at the Portugal Club now, we can see that the show is live. Make music, not war is our theme today. And simply being Mel Being will be joining us in about half an hour between now and then. Feel free to choose the music. I've got a couple of things to get us going. Good morning and welcome Maria, Lisa, Jean, Anne, Adrian, and Neil, Miguel, those who've joined us just recently at the Portugal Club. You can do that too at www.theportugalclub.com. So let's get underway with some music, shall we? I got some fabulous memes and mirth and merriment for you this morning. Let's start. For some reason, this seems entirely appropriate to the sort of themes we talk about when Mel joins us. So Donna Summer getting us underway. I don't think we've played Donna Summer in the morning since we've started sharing music. Let's put that right now. Donna, are you there? There you are.
Coming
Magnificent. Love that tune. It's somewhat different to a lot of Donna's work. Not a disco tune by any means, is it? Better known for I Will Survive. And that's a great shout there. Cake. I'm not familiar with Cake. It can't possibly as bad as the Afro Man tune that we played that was quite a shocker. Maybe this time last week, is that right? So Cake, I Will Survive. I'm happy to give that a try. Thank you for that suggestion, Sarah. Good morning to you, Sarah Yerman. Mike also here now. And yeah, the Cake version of I Will Survive might be a good follow-up to Donna Summer. Thank you for that. And the promised and overdue Glenn Campbell, I think, next. But yes, let's return to the familiar sound or a familiar song of Donna Summer, I Will Survive, but a version excursion by Kate. Good morning to you, Matty. Bon dia alegria a todos e feliz terça-feira this morning. And good morning from Gemini, who liked that tune for sure. And Mel, who's limbering up and getting ready and joining us in about 20 minutes. And already has a request, getting excited about singing The Cat Empire. For some reason, I was remembering last night with Mrs. M, she's a Cat Empire fan. And for some reason, in a way that old farts and dads seem to do, they can't remember the name of a band, so they make something up. I used to call them Dead Cat Turntable for some reason. I don't know why, but Cat Empire is their right name. And we'll be playing a tune called Chariot, which is actually nice connection this morning. Chariot, Mel will be arriving on the Chariot. She's asked for that because she's getting excited about seeing the Cat Empire playing tonight. Chariots of Fire, you might be reminded of. That's John and Vangelis, is it not? They wrote State of Independence. It's as if we plan all of this. That tune you just heard, sung by Donna Summer, State of Independence, song written by John Anderson and Vangelis. The track was released as a single but did not chart by them. Subsequently became better known when Donna Summer released a cover version a year later in 82, everybody. That became a top 20 UK hit single and repeated the same feat 14 years later, issued as a remixed version in 96 and a number one hit in the Netherlands. In 92, a third version of the song, retitled Spiritual High State of Independence, was recorded and released as a single by Mood Swings with vocals by the Pretenders. Oh, do you have a Pretenders favourite that we might be able to squeeze in this morning? So that's the history of State of Independence. Not entirely sure what the inspiration is and what that's about, but I whatever it is, I do like. Oh my goodness, I found out something really good about that tune as well. Post-disco is what the genre is being described as, at least on Wikipedia. This is incredible. The more I'm scratching the surface of this tune, State of Independence, it is. It mentions holy water, does it not? I need to find out more of the origins and meaning of the tune. But for the time being, I need to let you know that Quincy Jones produced that as well. Maybe that's why it sounds so darn good as well. And in the Dick Morrissey was on saxophone in there as well. I think he of Morrissey Mullen, is that right? And the choir in that Donna Summer version includes Lionel Richie, Dionne Warwick, Michael Jackson, Brenda Russell, Christopher Cross, Diane Cannon, not sure, forgive me, Diane, not sure who Diane Cannon is, James Ingram, Kenny Loggins, Peggy Lipton, Patty Austin, Michael McDonald, and Stevie Wonder are in the choir that you hear in that tune. It just comes out, doesn't it? There's just something magnificent about that tune, and that'll be something to do with it. I think all of those people on Quincy Jones's speed dial, basically. What a fantastic start to the show this morning. Good morning to you. How are you doing this morning? It feels somewhat muted over here in San Martino de Porto. Nothing wrong with that. A very nice trip out last night with the family. And San Martino has been reset from its summer positions, although the triathlon is happening this coming weekend in San Martino de Porto. I think it's too late for me to enter now, sadly, but still the fun carries on here in San Martino de Porto, though summer does seem to be getting further and further behind us in the rearview mirror. I hope you're well this morning. We've got I'll do the Portuguese... not Portuguese independence test, the Portuguese citizenship test. I thought I'd already set that up, and I may have refreshed that page and lost that. Yes, I think I have. So I won't do that right now. Oh, yes, I will. I've already posted it. Let's bring that up onto the screen now. Let me move your comment for just a moment, Mel. Another really easy one. I'm wondering now if these are going to get any more difficult. But there's, again, a great backstory to this simple question. Portuguese citizenship test number 11 this morning. Which region is famous for producing port wine? With the emphasis on port wine because the choices are the Douro Valley, the Alentejo and Dow, the Dow DOC, the regions of the Portuguese winemaking, the DOCs. And they all produce wine, of course, the Dow, Alentejo. The Dow, in fact, is where we'll be taking our supermarket choice. Intermarché's Dow own brand, own bottle is going to be our wine of the month for October. We'll be trying that on the first Monday of October. Looking forward to that. Dow can be a little bit of a risk, but we're also risking trying a supermarket wine. Fair to say, we're very pleased with supermarket wines here in Portugal. They're not at all risky. They tend to be very good. And I imagine it's quite a brilliant buyer's job to become appointed a buyer of supermarket wines. The buying power must be amazing. The quality is therefore good too. Looking forward to trying that Dow from Intermarché on the first Monday of October. Alentejo also, of course, a massive and important winemaking region here in Portugal. It might be the Douro, of course, that's famous for producing port wine. If we get time, we'll look into the backstory of that. Please vote for that. Make your choice on the link that I'm going to put into the chat now. Oh, good morning to you, Adrian. Already said hi, and thank you to you for joining the Portugal Club. Free to do so now, of course. Come join us. Good guess, Adrian. Thank you very much for being here this morning. And there's the link for making your own choice as well. Fantastic. Okay, let's go over to Glenn Campbell, the first musical artist I ever saw playing live with my parents at the Bristol Colston Hall. Glenn Campbell. I swear, as a child, I looked down from the circle and thought he was looking right at me. Let's hear him, and an amazing tune. I'm sure there's an incredible production backstory behind this as well. Glenn Campbell's Wichita Lineman, remastered version from 2001. What an absolute gem this is. There you go, Glenn.
I am a lineman for the county, and I drive the main road, searching in the sun for another overload. I hear you singing in the wire, I can hear you through the whine, and the Wichita lineman is still on the line. I know I need a small vacation, but it don't look like rain. And if it snows, that stretch down south won't ever stand the strain. And I need you more than want you, and I want you for all time. And the Wichita lineman is still on the line. And I need you more than want you, and I want you for all time. And the Wichita lineman is still on the line.
Wow. That can't have failed to evoke some memories for everybody here this morning, I suspect. If you were a listener to Steve Wright in the afternoon on BBC Radio 2 in the UK, that's how he used to finish his show, with the last part of that tune there, written by Jimmy Webb. Good morning to you, Jimmy White. And that's written by Jimmy Webb in 1968 for American country music artist Glenn Campbell, who you heard there, who recorded it backed by members of the Wrecking Crew. Really important people in popular music. Jimmy Webb, Glenn Campbell and the Wrecking Crew. Widely covered by other artists. I'm thinking I might have to give that a go at the next karaoke. Coming up this Saturday evening in San Martino de Porto. I wonder if I can do that justice. Might be should probably practice before I try that next Saturday. And it's the first existential country song. Interestingly, with the emphasis, I think, on existential. 2021 Rolling Stone magazine's list of the 500 greatest songs of all time. A little phrase from the song, all time, ranked Wichita lineman at number 206. Singer-songwriter Bob Dylan, considered it the greatest song ever written, man. The British music journalist Stuart Maconie called it the greatest pop song ever composed. That gives me bristles. That's making the hairs on my neck and arms stand up. Because I think there might be some truth in that. What an amazing chunk of popular music that is, and with its tipping its hat to country, of course, as well. On your screen there, this is what the human hand looks like under a microscope. Yes, some very good dad jokey memes this morning, and a dad's phone keyboard, mainly comprising of thumbs up emojis. Very good. And a lovely little, well, it's not really a story, but a little idea that's come up on social media for me this morning. In Portugal, a road built from cork reduces tyre noise by 30%. It just feels like that's a road you could lie down on. So a road built from cork, presumably some of the toughest cork, the sort of cork that people used to struggle to scrape off the floors of Great Britain in the 1970s when fashions changed from 70s cork to polished floorboards underneath them. It reduces tyre noise by 30% and naturally repels heat. As the cork bark is intended and made by nature to do, right? Made from tree bark, not tar. I love this. In Portugal, Revolutionary Road, this is from Fact 27 over on Facebook. In Portugal, a revolutionary road made from cork is reshaping how we think about sustainable infrastructure. Instead of using traditional tar or asphalt, this unique road surface is crafted from compressed cork. It must be super compressed. The bark of cork oak trees that regrows after harvesting, making it both renewable and eco-friendly. The result is a smooth, flexible road that's quieter and cooler than its conventional counterparts. Cork has remarkable natural properties. It absorbs vibrations and, a bit like human beings, right? We absorb vibrations, do we not? Absorbs vibrations and significantly reduces tyre noise, up to 30% quieter than standard roads. Makes driving more pleasant. Anything that can make driving more pleasant is welcome, and drastically cuts noise pollution for nearby residents. The material is also highly resistant to temperature extremes, making it repel the heat during Portugal's scorching summers, those 300 days of sunshine, helping reduce urban heat buildup and extending the life of the road itself. I wonder where we can go and see one of these. Portugal, home to the world's largest cork forest, is leading the way in turning its natural resources into futuristic infrastructure. The Cork Road isn't just a quiet innovation. Is this lifted straight from a press release? It's a bold statement in favour of climate-resilient, renewable urban design, folks. There you go. Thank you, Barbara, as well, who posted that on her timeline this morning on Facebook. I'm liking that very much indeed. It's a lovely picture as well. Somebody standing in the road. They need to be careful. There is a car coming on that Cork Road. Excellent. So Donna Summer, Glenn Campbell so far. I think Cake next with their cover version of I Will Survive. And then I'll tell you a little bit more about the origins of port wine and share a few more memes on the screen. Oh, yes. Did you see that family? I thought moving to Portugal would be a dream come true. When the reality wasn't perfect, we found our home in Colombia. This, I think, is what happens when you don't spell check Coimbra, perhaps. if before you put it into Google Maps. That is the most bizarre story, is it not? We tried Portugal and ended up in Colombia. I wonder, do we get them on the show and find out what happened there? But my theory so far is that they in haste, they were trying to put Coimbra into the sat-nav and ended up in Colombia. Bon dia, alegria, gambas. Good morning to you, T-Duck. Good to see you this morning. And there's a line of high-density, ultra-high-density cork, Subera, used for kitchen countertops. That also sounds excellent. Wonderful. And for some reason, I'm thinking, is there cork underwear? I don't know why. Maybe it was talk of those brassiers yesterday. I passed the exam SIPL, but I don't think it matters anymore, given that citizenship is going to be 10 years. Oh, late night, just woke up. Yeah, me too. A late one last night. It was quite a struggle to get out of bed. I was being chased through the streets by my favourite guru. Would you believe? Barry Long was running after me in my dreams, which is infeasible, but it is what happened. Well, in my dreams, at least. Good morning to you, whether you're just joining us or if you've been here for the last little while. And if you're new, having come in via the Portugal Club, there's a few other things that I posted up there yesterday, including Digi, that seemingly very good deal when it comes to internet and TV and calls. Our Vizinho Português, Antonio, gave us the lowdown on that. He's so helpful, so brilliant over there. And a new Portuguese saying of the day. Let's carry on. A bit more music then. Cake's version of I Will Survive. Never heard this before. Fingers crossed that it's entirely savoury this morning. Thank you, Sarah, for suggesting it. I'm getting a feel for it already. Go on now, go.
At first I was afraid, I was petrified. I kept thinking I could never live without you by my side. But then I spent so many nights just thinking how you'd done me wrong. I grew strong, I learned how to get along. And so you're back from outer space. I just walked in to find you here without that look upon your face. I should have changed my fucking lock. I would have made you leave your key. If I'd have known for just 1 second you'd be back to bother me. Oh, now go walk out the door, just turn around. Now you're not welcome anymore. Weren't you the one who tried to break me with desire? Did you think I'd crumble? Did you think I'd lay down and die? Oh, God, I will survive. Yeah, as long as I know how to love, I know I'll be alive. I've got all my life to live. I've got all my love to give. I will survive. I will survive. Took all the strength I had just not to fall apart. I'm trying hard to mend the pieces of my broken heart. And I've spent oh so many nights just feeling sorry for myself. I used to cry, but now I hold my head up high and you see me with somebody new. I'm not that stupid little person still in love with you. And so you thought you'd just drop by and you expect me to be free. But now I'm saving all my loving for someone who's loving me. Oh, now go walk out the door, just turn around. Now you're not welcome anymore. Weren't you the one who tried to break me with desire? Did you think I'd crumble? Did you think I'd lay down and die? Oh, now I will survive. Yeah, as long as I know how to love, I know I'll be alive. I've got all my life to live. I've got all my love to give. I will survive. I will survive. Yeah, yeah.
Just time for a swearing solo. Nice little trumpet in there. Thank you, Sarah. Memories of cycling across Iowa in a recumbent tandem. I think they're going to come back with another chorus, are they not? Very good. Apart from the little F-bomb in there, sorry if you're offended by that. It just seems that everybody speaks like that at the moment, doesn't it, at some point or other. But yes, it's just still seems a little bit awkward with effing and jeffing first thing in the morning. Mel will be coming on in just a moment with her Walk On Music, which is in anticipation of the Cat Empire gig tonight, The Chariot. And that's going to be played as a video this morning. So I'm hoping to get the settings right for that. I'm sure you'll tell me if they are or if they are not. Very quickly then, very deep and heartfelt congratulations to our dear friend Vitor Costa this morning. Maria, well done you. Sending hearty congratulations and love to dear friends in the north, Familia Maria Malheiro and Vitor Costa, not least the designers of our 30-day Portuguese language learning challenge. But now they have their baby boy who was born yesterday. If you were watching yesterday's show, you'll have seen that Vitor, cheeky old Vitor, joined us on the show before the baby was born, and delighted to hear that arrived safe and well into the world. Not sure of the name yet. I'm going with Vitor Costa Jr., but well done, Maria, and lots of love to all the family up there in the north. And Cake, just in case you didn't know, new to me, American rock band from Sacramento, California, consisting of singer John McRae, trumpeter Vince DiFiore, who you could hear there. That was pretty cool, wasn't it? It was a kind of Tex-Mex trumpet sound. Guitarist Jean McCurdy, bassist Daniel McCallum, and drummer Todd Roper. The band has been noted for McRae's droll, sarcastic lyrics and deadpan vocals. We heard them there. Very good indeed. Okay, what I'm going to do now is put onto the screen the video, the Cat Empire here. Let me know how this sounds. I've got two settings. One of them will be better than the other. So let's share with you. Chariot by the Cat Empire. Let me bring it onto the screen.
Telling me better one more war and one more fight, and I sighed, but then I thought about my friends. Then I wrote this declaration just in case the world end. Our guns, we shot them in the things we said. Oh, we didn't need no bullets cause we rely on some words instead. Kill someone in an argument, out with them with our brains, and we kill ourselves are laughing at the funny things we say. My bones, we had them safe for special times. When the crew would call us shakedown, we break down our party landmine. Women, that's so sexy, they explode us with their looks. Are we blowing up some speakers, jumping around till the grass shook? Our missiles, they were the road trips that we launched. Tripping crosses, silence, starting missions at the break of dawn. Yawn and smile, say what direction shall we take? Somewhere where it's warm and wet, this bit of route we'd always taken. Our weapons were our instruments, made from a timber and steel. We never yielded to conformity, but stood like kings in a chariot that's riding on a record wheel. were our instruments, made from a timber and steel. We never yielded to conformity, but stood like kings in a chariot that's riding on a record wheel. Sing. Our weapons were our instruments, made from a timber and steel. We never yielded to conformity, but stood like kings in a chariot that's riding on a record wheel. When our Air Force flying, when the frisbee in the sky. Have a session while we're smoking, now we're feeling extra high. And we sneak into a car park with the skaties on our back. When we're flying down the level, selling on the attack, now on the attack. And battles, they happen in these dance halls. See, we'd rather fight with music, choosing one, the rhythm war. Battle at these shakedowns and we battle at these gigs. We do battle in our bedrooms, made some sweet love to the beat. And our allies grew wherever we would roam. See, whenever we together, any stranger feel at home. In a way, we are an army, but this army not this truck. No, instead we're doing simple things, good loving, find it, run amok. This be a declaration written about my friends. It's engraved into this song, so they know I'm not forgetting them. See, maybe if the world contained more people like these, then the news would not be telling me about all that warfare endlessly. And our weapons were our instruments, made from a timber and steel. We never yielded to conformity, but stood like kings in a chariot that's riding on a record.
Well, that's very good indeed, isn't it? Okay, superb there. Let's change up the screen and let's bring Mel onto the screen as well. What excellent walk-on music you have there, Mel. And just at the time I bring her onto the screen, it was all going so well. She was enjoying that from the sidelines there, from from the wings, only to as we make the connection with her, she seems to have disappeared. The connection has failed. T Duck, however, stayed up all night wondering where the sun went, and then it dawned on me. Very good, Adrian. What's happening with you here? Enrollment for the A2 test at the University of Lisbon for Saturday, October 16th is still open. Closes 6th of October or earlier if all places already filled. B1, C2 available. Lisbon Furrow in November. Wow. And you continue to say, Mr. S. Is Mr. S here as well? There was a conference recently in Lisbon which proposed a compromise of 6 years. Oh, I see. This is with citizenship. B1 likely to be the new level. Spain, Italy, and Greece all require this for their languages. Further challenges. Well, I've got an idea for learning the language. I'm thinking of becoming an Uber driver, which I think will help me immerse and learn the language. More on that as that unfolds. I went to get a criminal record check, which is part of the process, which is one of the easiest bureaucratic thing I've ever done here in Portugal. And I just wanted to read this out. Nobody else will be able to say this, I suspect. This is going back to Cake's I Will Survive. We listened to this over and over, riding a recumbent tandem across Iowa along completely unplayable Rage Against the Machine. It's a Yerman family favorite. Nobody else would be able to say that, would they? Their recumbent tandem across Iowa listening to Cake. I Will Survive. That's a unique experience for the Yerman family there. Uniquely Yermanesque. Right, let's try this again. Mel, that works a little bit better, I think.
Okay, no idea what happened.
No, and it always happens when you bring somebody onto the screen. It's that moment. There you were, frozen on the screen, and then you disappeared.
There you go. I'm here now.
Yes, and thank you for that rousing Cat Empire song, Chariot. Just how excited are you about going to see them this evening?
I'm just so excited. I can't even tell you. I was actually feeling a bit teary. I'm so
Were
excited.
you? Right.
This song, this band has a lot of meaning for me, which I won't go into because I'll get all emotional. But it's all good
Oh,
stuff, and
yes.
it's an Aussie band, and I haven't seen any Aussie bands, and I'm excited. Yeah, and
It's
my
gonna
son's
be great,
going.
isn't it? Yeah, yeah. I think there'll be a few Aussies there tonight, won't there? I suspect they'll be
Well,
drawn out of the woodwork.
I don't know because I believe there's only about 500 of us in the country. I'm told, so
Yes.
it's not
Yeah.
great.
Well.
And Cat Empire is not kind of a mainstream band. It's more of a festival band. It's only a couple
Okay.
of songs that hit the radio. So it's not as well known in Australia. In
I
actual fact,
see.
I'm meeting other friends here tonight from Portugal, Portuguese friends who know it here.
Um,
So yeah.
so it's quite niche then. You'd be in the Australian niche, and then you'd be in the kind of festival niche of among Australians to know the Cat Empire, presumably.
Probably, yeah. I mean, I think we played once before, Hello, Hello, and there's another song called Two Shoes, which did make it to mainstream radio.
Yeah.
But for the epicness of their band, which as you
Yeah.
can see is, 10, 12 people, they vary up and the brassiness of it and the sound of it and fun of it.
Yeah.
I'm surprised it's not more mainstream than it is, but it does tend to be in those big day and 3-day festivals. They
Yes.
headline most of them or close to, and with Xavier Rudd and Tash Sultana and those sorts, and all good fun. Get the crowd pumping, let me tell you.
Yeah, I'm sure they do. They're a brilliant party band and a meaning in the music as well. A brilliant reframe of war talk during that tune, and that's why we entitled the show this morning "Make Music Not War," which of course comes from the '60s meme, a meme before memes were known about, of "Make Love Not War." We might talk about that because there's something very interesting psychologically in how the times are changing. We mentioned Bob Dylan earlier on, and this idea of being against things or being for things. I think that's a psychological shift of the moment. We might talk about that a little bit more in this show. We need to find out how you're doing on your land there. But before we move on from Aussies in Portugal, you say there's only about a few hundred. Have you been to the Down Under restaurant? Obviously a good
No,
one.
no,
No,
I've heard about it.
yeah,
And unfortunately, it kind of got going and got some popularity during COVID when I was in
yeah.
lockdown and couldn't get across the thing and they were
Okay.
suffering. There's also another place, there was another cafe that I did go to, I can't think of the name of it now, and they opened in November 2019.
Oh
And I went
dear.
and saw the guy and said, "How you doing? This is at the end of 2020." And he said, "We're probably gone." So I don't even know if they're still there because, to open a restaurant in a foreign country 2 months before we go into lockdown is a bit disastrous.
Right. Yeah.
Um, and he couldn't obviously get a lot of assistance. Not that the Portuguese government gave a lot of assistance, but he couldn't get what there was because he just got here. He was Australian, not Portuguese,
Wow.
and no assistance from the Australian government either. So, you know, a lot of
What
us
a
got caught.
yes. Well,
Yeah.
yeah, I was talking to a Portuguese guy actually at the weekend, who started a restaurant, I think in November 19 as well. It was his dream to start a restaurant, and he hung on in there by the skin of his teeth. He also had some quite robust responses to visiting police officers he was telling me about, who are trying to enforce unconstitutional um, serving suggestions on the population. A very interesting gentleman. So shout out to you, sir, this morning if you're tuned in. I have been to the Down Under restaurant that survived the lockdown, the pandemic, and of course notable Australian colleague Astrid over at Expats Portugal, who makes the same point that you do, that there are very few Australians, it would appear, in Portugal. And that's a bit odd as well, isn't it? Because there are Australians everywhere. It's a bit like when you travel the world. There are Irish people, there are people from Birmingham in the UK, and they are often Australians. Why so sparsely represented, do you think, here in Portugal?
I mean, it's a long way from home. So we're literally on the other side of the world if you run a
Oh, yes,
skewer
of
through
course.
the world.
Yes.
So, I mean, it
Please don't
makes it
describe
much
that.
more challenging to settle here
Right.
because it's a long way home and it's a very expensive trip home. So I think, and Australians are probably more aligned with the Asian cultures than the
Right.
European countries in terms of their style of living in many ways. and the weather here is cold for half of us. The other half is normal. So, it's a very different way of living. It
Mm.
doesn't suit. I mean, it's beautiful to visit for a lot of Australians. It's not. It's we kind of Australia's a very unusual little hybrid of cultures, and of course, 60% of the population of Australia was either not born in the country or their parents weren't. So you can't even label Australians together because most of the population is coming from hugely diverse heritage. And so the cultures that they bring together are very different, and a lot of that's come out of Asia. So,
Yes.
the tie with the UK is getting less and less each year, the tie to the British culture. And the British culture, as you know, is different from Portuguese. So we're also extremely influenced. It's almost like a child. I think of Australia like a child. We're very, very influenced by America and the
Mm.
work culture of America
Wow.
and the lack of community of America, as I perceive it. So it's quite different in Portugal, where you deal with the frustration of the slowness, which of course is also a benefit, but it's a culture shock. It's a
Yeah.
very big culture shock. I as you know, and I'd rather get onto the other topic actually, but just quickly, as you know, I've been doing some renovations on my house, and all I've been doing is sitting outside and painting the house. And I cannot tell you how many Portuguese have walked past my door saying, "Oh, calma, calma, pouco
Come on. Yeah.
pouco, go
Yeah.
slower, go
Yeah.
slower." And I'm like, "What do you want me to do? Like paint slower?" And a Portuguese friend of mine was saying, "You've done so much there, Mel. Though you must be exhausted." I said, "Up until July, in 8 months, all I'd done is replace 4 windows, and I didn't even do that. I got someone in. Like in Australia, I ripped out a whole house and renovated it in 3 weeks. And so 8 months for me was driving me a little bit batty. Just to the only thing I could accomplish was replacing 4 windows. And so, the comparison there, the lifestyle is very different
Amazing.
in
Yeah.
lots of ways. So I think a lot of Australians come here and love many of the aspects of it, but it's not. It's same with every culture. You know, it's visiting and living is 2 different things, and
Yes.
it doesn't suit everybody to live. And I think for Australians, if they're going to get out of the country and want a slower paced life and a more community life, they'll probably go to Thailand or Bali, Indonesia,
Yeah.
those sorts of places, Fiji, um, instead of coming across the other side of the world where it's very hard to get home to visit
Very
family.
interesting. Yeah, and if you're going to the other side of the world, you might go to England to see the old place, I suppose, rather than stop off in Portugal.
Yeah, and it depends on the background of the individual. So, say
Yeah.
early on in Australia's history, of course, there was the white British thing, and then the next big groups were Italians, Chinese, and Greeks coming in for the gold rush.
What a gold.
So you have a big Italian Greek culture, and
Right.
then so probably they're going back to Italy as well.
Yeah, amazing.
Their origin countries or close to their origin countries if they were going to move away. But
Yeah.
I'm speculating. I simply don't know. But it's yeah, there's just not many here, and also Australia's only 27 million people. So
Yes, and a
um,
vast, vast place. I really enjoyed visiting Queensland. I loved it over there, with my Chinese relatives in Queensland, and seeing where the O'Reillys, different O'Reillys to Bobby, of
mm,
course, who landed in
beautiful.
up in the mountains where the O'Reillys resort. I think they had their little
Mhm,
parcel of land, didn't they? And it's
mhm.
an incredible success story. Really loved it over there. And of course, why would you come to a country of 300 days of sunshine when you've got 600 days of sunshine in Australia, right? I
Well,
think
in that part of that well, actually, it rains quite a lot there, but it's still 32 degrees when it rains. So, you're kind of going, "Thank God, let me run out in the rain, cool down a bit."
yeah,
So,
and that sound of the forest, that's really stays in
mm,
my mind and
mm.
heart, is that very Australian sound of the birds in the rainforest. It's an incredible sound, isn't it? It must do something to you if you're Australian as
Oh,
well.
for sure, and of course, that's only the north. It's only the north. It's not like that in the south. But Queensland and upwards, yeah, I miss the green lushness of the rainforest for sure.
Yes, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Andero is here, just popped in to say hi, waiting for those lesser spotted elusive builders. Twitching there, builder spotting. Bondia lurking today. Hi, João Resto do Norte, how are you doing? Good to see you. And Mr. S is lurking too. So yes, that other topic. Maybe we have a quick update from the land. What's going on there?
Well, I actually I walked down before, and I hope my internet doesn't cut out again,
Right.
because I wasn't planned. This wasn't planned, but it came up this morning, and I thought I'd show you a flower and a thing that you may never have seen before.
Oh,
Let me
beautiful.
just
Thank
find
you.
it for you.
Yeah.
So
I'm going to
here
give you
she
full
is.
screen to do that. Oh, what is this? Is that an
Look
apple
at
blossom?
that. No, it's it's a rosella, and
Okay.
here is the fruit. I hope you can see the fruit.
Yeah, a
There.
rosella. And
See?
this is
Yeah.
something I need to tell Mrs. M about. She loves buying fruit trees here in Portugal. What is a
But you
rosella?
won't get them here. You won't
Right.
get them here. I'm
Right.
just trialing them out because the fruit and wine is divine.
Yeah.
The jam and the wine. Look at that. So
Okay.
that's the fruit. So it's just and that's the flower of the fruit. So it's a form of hibiscus actually, but it's a
Okay.
fruit, and it kind of is like a cranberry sort of a feel.
Is it?
You don't necessarily eat it as it is. You boil it up and make delicious jam. It's kind of a mix of taste between a raspberry and a cranberry, probably.
Yeah.
And I just got some seeds, and I thought I'd just see whether they will grow here. And they're a little bit
They
sparse, but then
certainly have.
everything's a little bit sparse.
Yes.
And then you can make wine out of it, rosella wine and rosella jam and things like that. So
Hibiscus was going to be my second choice there. It does look like the hibiscus flower, doesn't it? And of course, you
yeah.
won't be seeing apple blossom at this time of year, I don't think. It is very sharp, says Gemini, saying that Australia is beautiful and knowing a thing or two. Are you Australian as well, Gemini, by any chance? So you'll be harvesting at some point and making these things that you speak of, Mel.
Yeah, well, I mean, harvest is a strong word. I haven't got that many of them, but we're trying. We're trying. It hasn't been the most successful year for me growing things, but we're trying.
Right.
And yes, I will be taking the seed out of the middle as a seed pod inside, so I can regrow for next year, and then you boil them up. And yes, they are sharp, especially if you pick them at the wrong time. So if you let them sit on the vine a little bit too long and they go a bit woody, they get
Yeah.
more strong in flavour.
Yes.
But if you mix it, say, with a little bit of apple, same as when you're trying to cook up mini jams and things. So yeah, you just take the seed out of the middle, you boil up that calish that's called on the
Is it?
outside,
Yeah.
and it makes a delicious jam and a delicious wine. And one of the reasons that it's a little bit of a tie to my mum, who passed away last year. She was also experimenting with them in Australia. They're not an Australian thing. I think they're South African.
Oh, there you go.
And she's like me. She has one drink and she falls over. So she didn't drink very much unless she had a sore throat and needed a bit of a swig. And so
Yes.
I came home from school one day to find her laying on the floor in a pool of red liquid, where she'd been
Whoa!
trying to siphon her rosella wine, and realized as she sucked on the tube to get the wine out of the vat that she couldn't reach the bottles. So she was sculling the red wine.
Oh,
And
brilliant.
it was such a funny thing. She's giggling and laughing and carrying on because she's totally off her face on the rosella wine on the kitchen floor, trying to laughing
You
her head
okay,
off.
Mum?
So,
Yeah,
yeah.
I'm really okay. Thank you very much. Wow,
So,
amazing. Australian eucalyptus. That's quite your Aussie thing, isn't it? To see so much eucalyptus. And hold on, what's this? The presenter of the Shaker supporting Just My Opinion channel. That sounds like my mate, the Portugueser, is a Portuguese Australian. He's not a Portuguese Australian. He'd like to be, as presented from Melbourne. Know thine enemy. I'm not sure. Which brings us on to our other enemies. What's going on here, Adrian? That's a turn for the worse in the chat here. It's just somebody on YouTube expressing their opinion. Now, we saw the reframe Chariot by Cat Empire. It caused me to think of the 60s meme of "Make Love Not War," which has a very interesting origin. If you look it up, it's thought to have been coined in Berkeley and Oakland, California, in '65. It certainly is a great idea. Make love, not war, and maybe, as the Cat Empire were talking about, turn the implements of war into, or reframe them into, musical instruments, and meet other people with music and mirth rather than violence and aggression. And I think this connects with something that's been sort of brewing behind the scenes, or you've made mention of, Mel. I think it was you. But how now, in this situation that we find ourselves in, that it might be important to be modeling something and attract the vibes of things rather than standing against things. Was that you? Would you agree with that sentiment?
I would agree with that sentiment. I was thinking about this overnight and this morning.
Yeah.
And I think for me, and I'm sorry if I waffle on a bit because I can get a little bit all over the place, but we need to look at ourselves in this, I think. And I think what I see is huge levels of duality or
Yes.
hypocrisy, depending on what you want to talk about, and division. And the only way we can resolve that is to deal with that in ourselves. And I'm pointing at myself, and I'm pointing at you, Carl, and I'm pointing at everybody else.
At me too. Yes.
Because the thing is that what I'm seeing a lot of, which is, I think, being fed and driven, is this division and this, we lump people into categories and boxes. I couldn't even tell you which political side I sit on. I think I sit on bits of everything. I'm not even interested in politics. But I also look at the hypocrisy and duality in myself. And I think we have to do that, because when we accept it in ourselves, when we recognize what we're doing in this, then we can recognize it better in someone else and give them some grace for that, because none of us are whole on one thing. And I'll give you a few examples, and I don't want to fire up a political debate because it's not about politics or either side.
It's a tricky line to tread, isn't it, for sure? And
it's a tricky line to tread. So I ignore the topic at hand and ignore the topics I'm about to raise as a topic, but just as an example. So, for example, now we have a death of Charlie Kirk, who, amongst many things, stood for free speech and for speaking what you wanted to say. And engaging in discussion with people who thought differently. However, if it was just to one up, it doesn't matter why. That was his thing. Was one of his things. So then we have now people who wanted free speech around COVID coming out and being quite nasty. Potentially, some of them being quite nasty about Charlie's death. Then people who are supporting Charlie coming out saying, I just saw the other day that someone started a list of 50,000 people who made fun of or, said, good, I'm glad he's not here, his opinions were terrible. And they're contacting their employers and they are trying to get them fired for speaking.
Yeah.
And so the duality in me gets online and goes, we have to stop all this division. And of course, then I get online and see people doing that and going, hang on, this is exactly what you fought against. This is not what he wanted. That's according to what you're telling me what he wanted.
Yes.
I didn't even watch the guy before, so I don't really know, but I've seen this part of it. And then I'm saying, hang on, that doesn't make any sense. That's not. And then I went, hang on, I'm just getting drawn into that argument too. I'm doing it too. And we have to accept that, there's people who say they're against, the Palestine situation and the killing of women and children, who are pro-free choice on childbirth, abortion issues. And people will say, well, that's hypocritical. And of course, there's nuance in that. And that's just it, Carl. There's nuance in all of us. There's nuance in every argument. There's always a belief that we may hold, that potentially we may hold an exception for within ourselves. There's nuance in every argument. And instead, people are just going, you're this, I'm this, we're against one another.
Yeah.
And here's me standing here saying we need to recognize the similarities in ourselves and support that and call out, the potential of what we can do to be good to one another. Meanwhile, I'm on Twitter this morning or last night or whatever going, bah, what are they doing? Why are they saying this? And getting sucked in exactly the same.
Well,
So I think
that's the
that
test, is it not? This is real. This is so real to me, and I applaud your efforts to talk about this in a sensitive way to get beyond it, because that's what I think you're doing. Perhaps this is not serving us, is it? And
no,
for me now, it's like this will never be sorted out. These issues that we seem to be grappling with, playing with as a species, will not be sorted out in the environment that we're trying to sort them out in, as in sort of arguing it out. That just compounds and makes worse this thing we're talking about. And it seems to me, the efforts that began, you might argue, in 1965 with "Make Love Not War," it's like somebody thought to themselves, "Hold on a minute, we could be doing the opposite of this. We don't have to be doing these horrible things that we dislike. We could be doing the opposite." And they position themselves against something. And it may be that some 60 years later, we are going through a very slow evolution, because that's how it seems to work. But it's now, do we need to be against something? Might we now be just moving into the arena, area, context, atmosphere of being for something? And I think the challenge with that, it's much more difficult to be for something than it is to be against something.
well, I mean, you always propel yourself a lot harder out of fear.
Yes.
So being against something is an easier energy to work with.
Yes.
And I think that, but there's things that I think we could do, and I'd like to touch on those.
Mm.
And I think it's the little stuff, and it's us. And I just wanted to give one more example. There was someone that I know that was talking about, don't bring the problems of other countries here.
Mhm.
You're in Portugal now. Don't bring the problems of other countries here,
The
because at
Portuguese
the
never
moment,
said, definitely, yeah.
particularly, I think we're hearing a lot about America because it's such a powder keg over there, and it's newsworthy.
Mm.
So we're hearing a lot about America. This person wasn't American. So they were like, don't bring your problems. I'm sick of hearing it. I'm sick of hearing about your problems. And then within hours was talking about the problems from the UK, and
Yes,
was talking
totally.
about the marches in the UK and the
He
marches
can't
in
help it.
Australia.
I don't mind naming him. He's a mate of mine, and he would be happy to be named and talk about it, because that's the kind of guy he is, and that's why I love him as a human
Me
being.
too. I like that honesty. And what
Yeah,
it showed to me is that this is nuanced. We all do it. We all
yes,
do it. His
yeah.
message in the morning I thought was awesome.
And
And I
there
and
he is,
I
same
and there he
afternoon,
is an hour or
banging
two
on.
later doing exactly the same thing. Because, to be fair,
Yeah,
that other issue is annoying because it's not your origin country, and it just and there's nothing you can do. It's not connected to you. But
yeah.
then all of a sudden something pops up that's connected to you, and you go, "Oh, what about this?" And you
Ah,
forget that the Americans are probably sitting there going, "Why are we talking about British marches and
yeah,
Tommy
boring.
Robinson all of a sudden, like, boring?" Like, um, so, I think that we're all gonna do that. There's nothing wrong. I do it. Like, I'm sure you do it too, Carl, and we all do it. So it's not that. It's like going, "Ah, okay, I got sucked into that too." And in which case, instead of going, "Hang on, my mate that always talks about America, and gonna cut him off because I can't handle it," go, "Actually, I do that too."
Yes,
And I don't want my friends to cut me off because of that, because free speech and all.
yes,
Um, so then we can go, okay, how do we deal? How do we better deal? And this is what I think is just something that we need to address, and we all have to address it differently depending on our individual needs and manner,
yes,
is
yes.
to go, okay, we may not want to hang out with this person every moment of the day. There's some people that we have really different views on. But if you were friends with someone for 20 or 30 years, and suddenly they express opinions on an issue that drives you a bit batty and it's not yours,
Mm.
there was things that you liked about them for 20 or 30 years, and chances are they always had those views. They just didn't express them, and maybe they're not so strongly aligned to it as they are now. So can't we go back and go, have a conversation? Like, actually have a conversation and go, you know what? We see differently on this issue. And it irritates me. It actually makes me irritated and upset.
Right.
But that doesn't, and I'm probably not going to hang out with you so much because I can see it's really passionate to you at this point in time.
Yes.
But I don't want to lose the friendship. I don't want to cut you off. I just, I just want to say, we need to keep it light and fluffy when we're together because we obviously see differently. Or we'll just see a little bit less of each other and time will pass and we'll move on to having a beer together in the retirement home later.
The Aussie
And
way.
the Aussie way. And on you, mate. Um, and and get beyond that and recognize that we're doing the same. We are doing the same. And when we recognize that we're doing the same, then it holds out a little bit more compassion into those that are driving us a little bit batty right
Yeah.
now, because we're doing the same.
Well, I might be something of an extremist on this, in a very strange, ironic way, perhaps. Mel, I think our state is becoming the most important thing. Our personal state, in terms of sovereignty and safety, security, spiritual happiness. It's so important, and maybe this is a realization we might be coming to. Our personal state and our maintenance of it strikes me as, and I'm not saying it should be for everybody. That's the whole thing, isn't it, about extremism and ideology?
Nuance.
This is how I have it for me, and how I would share my view on it as a serving suggestion and offering to others. Is it's really important and it's not easy to do. That's why I think it doesn't happen very often. Is maintain and observe and cleanse our own state, and if that is being troubled by other people, external circumstances, it's intelligent to move away from those circumstances and find yourself in a place of peace. And I think it looks easier to move country or situation or context to do that, but ultimately it comes down to one's own self-observation, because in the end, although it's not easy, that is the simplest thing to do, is to think, like, what am I being irked about here, and why is that? I think that's all we've got in the end, and that's our own personal process of evolution and growth and becoming greater, whatever one might take that to mean. Is that I think that's what we're being taught at the moment, frankly, and always there's the temptation to be drawn into a confrontation with someone else or something else. But I think you're absolutely right. All that is our own unresolved inner confrontation that we might afford some time and energy and intelligence to.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I think that we have to remember that there's different roles and different personalities of different types. There's people who do need to be the orators that stand at the front of people and make a statement of some sort in
Yeah.
differing ways. Everybody has different roles. And I think that we've got two sides. One is, as you say, maintaining our own spiritual calmness and whatever, to stop
Calma.
the butterfly effect of the violence and hatred and division coming towards us, and just put a block
Yes.
in.
Yes.
And then I think there's the other step for those who can, and I'm not saying that I do it in every moment of the day. As I said, I see my own duality in this, but then to reach out and go, hang on, I'm going to start a butterfly effect of something good. And it's
Yeah.
not necessarily that we're starting to become, best buddies with someone who philosophically thinks completely different to us. But
Yes.
it's just offering an olive branch and saying, okay, we can just move beyond this and recognize the similarities. I'm going to change the subject and talk about your kids, because I
Yeah.
got kids too, and your kids are amazing and my kids are amazing. And
Yes.
let's talk about that for a bit, because we also need to get the butterfly effect going forward of, let's not only do we not need to get drawn into this, we also need to make sure that we start to promote the things that we want. And
Mhm.
that is more communication, more discussion in a positive. We all used to sit around the dinner table with, 10 uncles that all had different views, and still, sometimes there'd be a few words spoken, but basically you'd still just get on with it and have Christmas together.
Yeah.
But now it's like we're cutting off whole legs of the family. We're not
Yes.
talking to people. We're shutting them down. We're just going to exclude ourselves. And we can't just compartmentalize ourselves into little bits of the world and keep separate. It doesn't work like that. And it's one of the things I like about Portugal, and maybe partly because, yes, I'm learning the language and I'm starting to have conversations with people, but they're not talking to me about politics, and they're not talking about, it's not deep enough yet, those conversations. So I get to have all these little conversations about my house renovations and my, what we're doing and the neighborhood, and not get drawn into all of that. And it's really nice. It puts out a better energy. Um, and we need some of that. So we can do our bit. We can do our bit in A, not escalating, B, being ourselves, as you say, in a calm pace. And then if we have the wherewithal in little actions, de-escalating situations, just calming people down and, changing the subject or reaching out to some friends to say, actually, I think I
Yeah.
was a little bit harsh. But the first step is that we have to recognize that we do it too.
Yeah,
You know,
absolutely. Yeah,
we
well said.
really have to recognize that.
Well said. Well said. Thank you. Thank you. We weren't entirely sure what we were going to talk about, and I think that's been approached and discussed in a very excellent way. So thanks, Mel, for that, as ever, in bringing your
Can
view.
I get in one quick shameless plug?
Yeah, of course you can.
So I did mention it yesterday. For those in the North, Parej, the Companhia Nacional de Bailado, CNB.PT, the National
Mhm.
Ballet Company, is
Oh,
actually
yes.
performing in Paredes on Saturday night.
Yes.
My son is doing a 15-minute improv solo in this, so
Wow.
get on up there. But, the national company do too. I think they're in Tavira next month. Um, so they do some smaller places, but it's not often that in smaller towns you get the opportunity to go and see the National Ballet Company. So
Which,
and
which
the tickets are
Paris?
like €15 or something,
Are we? So we're talking about the Portuguese National Ballet, is that right?
Yes, yes.
Okay. And your son is part of that ensemble, and they tour the country. So anyone who says, "Oh, you can't get the culture unless you go to Lisbon or somewhere else, even in the world," you can. And this is
Yeah,
this
they
is
did
true.
Caldas early in the year,
Yeah.
Aveiro, I said Tavira next month, but they don't do a lot of it though, and they try to go
Yeah.
to different places. So, yeah, and it's inexpensive. Like in Lisbon, the tickets are like 20 to €30. I think in Paredes, I thought it was like 12
Where
or
is Paris?
15 or
Which
something.
Paris is this? Because that's a
It's
quite popular name.
it's up near Braga somewhere, I think.
Okay, so touring
Yeah.
up there in Braga, that's fantastic. So Portuguese National Ballet, absolutely. You could, that shameless plug is very welcome here. A few comments coming in about to the conversation after knowing why we're irked about things, how to calm our nervous system so we can get beyond it. There is a massive part. Excuse me. There is a big part of education missing in that. Although I think that those techniques, those methods, that awareness is coming more into the mainstream. Mindfulness was presumably about that. It may have gone off in a very commercial direction, but however, calming ourselves, regulating ourselves, really important, Jim. And for me, it's supremely important. Coming back to ourselves in the way that Mel was. That's where we have to start, isn't it? And it's the only thing we can really do anything about. I would say, and perhaps a great note to end on here. Our son, this is the kind of I called by mistake, actually it's a typo, I've called it make musk not war, which could get me into further trouble. It's meant to be make music not war, and this is an example perhaps of make love not war here, between two human beings who are connected to us by 6 degrees of separation. A practical example of what we're talking about. Our son and his just now Brazilian fiance, congratulations you two lovebirds, have very different views on Bolsonaro. That's easy to do. A hot button person there. They decided they wouldn't let some guy they didn't even know come between them. That's intelligence right there, is it not? Breathe deeply, says Adrian, and remember to love your enemies. That way, some will become friends. That's not bad advice either. I don't
Can
think
I
any of
just add a
oh,
little bit of advice in there, Carl?
yeah.
As I think I mentioned to you, I've done a lot of work with genetics and epigenetics,
Oh, yes,
and the
right.
way to calm your nervous system is different from person to person.
Okay.
So, yes, breathing deeply, meditation, mindfulness. I'm not saying that's bad for anybody, but for some of us, like me, the little short, feisty ones, jumping up and down on the spot
Sorry.
because, yeah,
Say that again.
the little short, feisty ones.
Right.
Um, because we have a lot of adrenaline, and so our adrenaline runs. Other people run dopamine and so on, but we run
Okay.
adrenaline. So if you
Yeah.
just try and sit still with a course of adrenaline going through your body, it's not going to be particularly effective, and you turn it inside and end up more stressed and sick as a result. So
Very
jumping up and down on the spot, punching something, preferably a pillow, not a human
not
being,
a person. Yeah.
doing some sprint intervals, doing something especially physical, screaming loudly, like
Okay.
burn out that adrenaline,
Okay.
and
Right.
reset yourself. Then you can calm. Then you can sit and do mindfulness. But first, you have to burn the adrenaline out.
Well, whatever works, isn't it? Thank you for that intervention as well, because yes, the spiritually correct would have us all meditating, right? It is the right way to do everything, and it's not true, is it? It's what works is what works, and you have to find that out for yourself. Know thyself, right? The inscription at the Delphi, was it not? Know thyself. That's the important thing. That's perhaps what we're talking about. The Oracle at Delphi, I should say. That's what I think is being pointed at this morning. A variety suiting your needs at the moment. Non-violent, great walk on a Sunday evening. There you go. Adrian's really coming to the fore with a few serving suggestions there for regulating oneself and making the world a more, as our Portuguese neighbours tell us, Mel, tranquilo, calma. They set a very good example, and they still got the art. I was, last Sunday when I was at this political meeting, there's still this sense that these are just my opinions and my views. Don't get personal, don't get rude, but I'll take any amount of discussion on my political views because they're only ideas, they're only opinions, and sometimes they're stupid, and sometimes I need to be told. This is what a man sitting next to me told me himself. So thank you, Mel, for that. We'll leave it there. We're a little bit overdue, but for very good reason, I think, and we'll see you again next month. Have a great time tonight at the Cat Empire gig. All right, take care. Cheers. Bye for now. Thank you very much.
In Portugal, there's a YouTube show full of fun facts you need